Good afternoon, Stampers. It's Debbie with Stamp It with Debbie, and it's Wednesday, so it's time for Facebook Live. And today I'm going to be showing you another new product out of our annual catalog, and I'm so excited to show you Good Morning Magnolia. It's a two-piece set, and it also has coordinating framelits, and it has some really beautiful paper. In the catalog, it's here on page 38, and you can see all of the coordinating paper. There is actually a whole suite in the catalog, so there are some note cards along with envelopes and some other embellishments too, some ribbon and different things. So you'll want to check it out. It's called the Magnolia Lane Suite. So we're going to get started. I'm going to show you 3 projects using this stamp set today, and I'll be showing you some more later in the week, but these are our Facebook Live projects. So let me get set up. If you're on, if you'll just click one of the emojis to let me know you're here, or let me know where you're from, what kind of day you're having, leave a comment or something. Let me know how you're doing today. All right, I think I'm all set up. Kind of seems like my lighting is a little crazy here today. See if I can fix it a little bit. Okay, for some reason I'm not seeing comments. Again, I don't know if something... I can see a couple people are on, but I can't really see comments. So again, I'll go back and leave comments in response to any questions that you have later on. But we're going to go ahead and get started. So as I said, 3 projects using the Good Morning Magnolia. And I'm going to set that aside, and let me just show you this paper real quick. Of course, all of our designer paper is two-sided, so you get lots and lots of beautiful patterns. This is one of my favorite of the one side is all flowery and the other side is kind of a little more subtle. So this is the back side of that other one. And there's this piece with these beautiful flowers. We'll be using that today. And then the stripes, and then this one here. Oh, I forgot to show you the projects. Let me show you the projects we're going to be making. This is the first card, and there are some really good sentiments in this set. There is hello, thanks, thinking of you, and then there's also a stamp that says enjoy today, and then there are a couple other sentiments in there. I'm going to use thinking of you because it seems like that's the cards that I've been using a lot of lately, but you could also throw happy birthday in there. This stamp set would make a great sympathy card if you needed to create a sympathy card. Not that that's a great time, but you could make a very beautiful sympathy card. And then the other project, I'm going to do a little variance of this one. This I just put on one of the little 2x2 acetate boxes, and I took a piece of designer paper and wrapped it around. This is 1 3/4 inches, wrapped it all the way around, and then adhered it here. I want to show you how to make this flower, so I'm going to put it on a different project today for you. All right, I think this is the first card that we will make, so let me get my supplies. All right, we'll go through what you need here. You need a piece of petal pink cardstock, cut at 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. You're going to need, this is the new nested framelits. I think they're called nested stitch framelits. And this is like the third one up from the end. You're going to need a piece of black cut at 3 inches by 5 1/4. One more piece of black cut at 2 3/4 by 4. A piece of designer paper cut at 2 3/4 by 5. A coordinating designer paper cut at 2.5 by 3 3/4. And then you're also going to need some of the new organdy striped ribbon, and that's this here. Isn't it so beautiful? And that is in petal pink. We'll also need just a little bit of ink. So I'm going to go ahead and fold this since I already scored it. We'll need Petal Pink ink. I'm going to get a little piece of scrap paper here. And where you're going to need the ink is right here. And then for this, I used basic black ink. Not basic black, Memento ink. So I'm going to use my Petal Pink ink. That sounds so funny to me. Petal Pink ink. And I'm just going to use this image here and just stamp along the edge. I just wanted to give it a little bit of something behind there. And then while we have our ink out, I'll go ahead and stamp my greeting, thinking of you. I think I'm going to pull that off camera just so I can try to not have you see my head. Alright, there's that. And we're ready to assemble. I'm going to set this aside just so the ink can dry. And I'm going to adhere these pieces together. I hope you all are having a great day. Our hot tub arrived today. I don't know if you've seen that I've posted a couple pictures. So we're building the last wall. We built 3 of the walls and we're enclosing it. So today we just have to, we built the last wall, we just have to get it standing up. So I was trying to help my husband with that, and I don't think I'm quite strong enough. Alright, this is the Petal Pink organdy ribbon. I'm just going to tie it around that smaller piece of the designer paper. And I'm just going to tie a knot. And make it pretty. And I want to cut the ends off just to give it a clean look here. Okay, now we can take this piece. This is the 5.5 inch piece, and we're just gonna put some adhesive right on the back and attach it right there. And then we want to take this piece, make sure that your ribbon is straight on there. And I'm going to kind of stagger that just a little bit. And then the last thing we want to do is put our greeting on. And I'm going to use a couple dimensionals for that. And now if you wanted to step this up just a little more, you could put a couple pearls or something else here. If you wanted to color those with your blender pens, you could do that. And I'm going to grab my little piece of scrap paper again. Ooh, this is a really loved scrap paper. And I think that I'm going to use that flower again. And I'm just going to stamp a little flower down in the bottom. Now it does have a couple other greetings that you could put on the inside. Let's see what this one says. It says, not only for what you do, but for being someone so special. So that would be great if you had a thank you card. And then also there's the journey of life is best shared with a friend. We'll get through this together. So I think I'm not going to put anything else. I'm going to put this on the inside. And then I'll just write a greeting when I send it out. Now if I wanted to, before I put this down, or even there's probably enough layer, I could color that in very lightly with, I'll just grab my blender pens and do it now. We could color it in with our blender pen real quick, just so we had a little more color to the inside. That one you have to be a little careful of, because now that I see it colored, I don't like it colored as well, I'll tell you, because it's got a pretty thick outline of the pink. So I probably would not color the leaves, because the outline from the stamping is pretty dark. I think I like it better without the leaves colored, but I can go back and fix that. I probably would just color the flowers. So this card is all done. So that was pretty quick and easy, but look how beautiful it looks with this paper, because the paper just takes the hardness out of it. So there you go. There's project number 1. I realized as I was logging in today that I did not print out my hostess code, so I will go ahead and add that at the end after the video is all done. And if you place a $30 order this week, $30 or more, I will send you the make and take projects for this week, which is the 3 projects. So for this one, we are going to need, I have to get my little cheat sheet. We need a piece of crumb cake at 8.5 by 5.5. Again, we're going to score at 4 1/4. I'm using Mossy Meadow at 4 1/4 by 3. A piece of designer paper at 2 3/4 by 4. And again, one of these little stitched nested labels. Now, I don't know if you saw when I first showed you the card, there is some stamping on the back of the card. So I'm going to go ahead and use my bone folder for that. And then I'm going to get, this is a pretty big stamp. I want you to see how big it is. I realized that I did not even have a Stampin' Up! Block big enough for it. So I had to compromise. I had another one. And I really like the way that the Stampin' Up! Blocks work. So I'll get another one. I like having the big edge to grip on the end, because it's easier to lift them off. This one seems to be a little difficult. So I'm going to go ahead and use crumb cake, and I'm going to ink up my stamp, and I do need to get my piece of scrap paper left. And I'm just going to randomly, because you're really not going to see it, stamp that back there. You're just going to see the outline of it. And then stamp that one there. And so again, like I said, you're really not going to see the stamp, just a little bit of the outline. And while we're stamping, let's go ahead and stamp our thinking of you. And I'm going to do that one in black again. I'm going to let that dry just for a minute. And we can start assembling this part. So I'm going to take my piece of designer paper, put some adhesive on the back. And then this piece will adhere right to the front of my card, the center of the card. Whoops. And I just like how the stamping in the back is kind of a continuation of the paper. It just makes it look really pretty. And I realized I got that on there just a little bit crooked. I think that's better. Hopefully that's better. Again, I'm going to put this on with dimensionals. I just realized that I stamped on there with this little leaf. I just wanted to give it a little bit of dimension, so let me grab that. Well, now I've lost my scrap paper. Here's a piece. And this is a little leaf right here. And I just wanted to put a couple on there, a couple leaves, just to add some more dimension. And then again, I will put that on with a couple dimensionals. And then lastly, so I'll get my greeting on here. Lastly, I have added a piece of this twine. It is in the catalog. It's called Nature's Twine, and it is in Blackberry Bliss. And I always have loved the combination of Blackberry Bliss with Mossy Meadow, so I thought it would look really good. If you don't like that, you can also use some of the twine, just the regular linen thread or twine if you want. So I'm going to tie a little bow around here. This is a little thicker than the regular linen thread, but I think that it still lays flat enough that you could send it in an envelope in the mail. And then I'll just cut the ends off to make it look pretty again. And there we are. Card number 2 is all done. Let me put that aside. And the third project, I told you that I had created this, which is a little box, and that would be beautiful as a little party favor for a wedding or a birthday or an anniversary party. But I wanted to just show you something a little bit different. And so what I'm going to do is create a tag for you. And this, I used the tag topper punch. This is cut at 2 inches by 4 1/4. And these pieces were all cut from the framelits that coordinate with the stamp set. So we need 2 of these bigger pieces, 2 of these. I have 3 leaves, and then we have the center part. And we're not going to do any stamping on there. We're just going to put them together. And I thought it would be fun to just decorate this just a little bit. So again, I'm going to put these aside for just a minute. I'm going to get my crumb cake ink and my piece of scrap paper, of course. And then I'm going to ink up my stamp. Guys, this is a huge stamp. It's huge. All right, and that's on there. And now I just need something, just going to do just a little bit down here at the bottom. Just a couple more leaves. Now I thought instead of coloring with my blender pens, and you could just leave it plain, it would look fine too. I'm taking my Stampin' Up watercolor pencil, and I'm just gonna, I'm hoping, my lead was falling out of here, and so I'm hoping that it's going to cooperate with me. If you ever had a pencil that you sharpened and then the lead just tries to fall out of there, even though it's perfectly sharp and ready to go, but it's still trying to fall out. So I'm just going to use my watercolor pencil here, and I'm not going to use any water on it. You could go back in with the blender pen to soften it up a little bit, but I'm not going to because it's in the background, and I think the white just is enough. It blends enough, so if you wanted to make it a softer look, you could. And I did not color the leaves on mine. I just wanted to leave them kind of plain and kind of accent the flower. Oh, I'm really hoping, I don't know if you can see. Ooh, it keeps trying to come out there. Let's see if we can make it. Now I just got a couple of flowers down here, petals of the flower to go down here. I didn't want to waste it because it's a pretty sharp point, but if I'm not careful, it's gonna fall out. So again, you could use your blender pen. I think I put mine away because I decided not to use it. But one of these, the blender pens, and just kind of go over it soften up the look of it just a little bit, would be perfectly fine. I didn't feel like it made much difference on the white, so I decided to leave it. Now we're going to assemble our flower. And before you put the flower together, and this is a tag. When I was making it, my daughter said, Mom, I hope that's not a bookmark because it won't close. So if you wanted it to be a bookmark, you could leave it just like this. Now I am going to do a stamp, and I'll stamp real quick. And if you wanted it to be a bookmark, it didn't stamp quite right there. Enjoy today. So since I goofed that up, what I would do is just to take a little piece of cardstock and stamp it on there and just adhere over there. Nobody will ever know, but I'm going to keep showing you how to make the flowers. So again, if you wanted it to be a bookmark, you could make it a little bit longer. Tie a ribbon out the top. Don't put this flower on the front. I intended this one to be a tag, so I wanted to give it a little more dimension. So when you're bending the petals of your flower, you have to be real careful, because if you do it too hard, you will pull one of the petals right off your flower. So you just want to bend them up just a little bit. And I'm going to even do it to my leaves just a little bit. And to the center. And now we're ready to assemble. You may want some glue dots, but for the bigger ones, you can just put adhesive right there in the middle, and then you want to make sure that they're crisscrossing each other, not right on top of each other. So each one, the petals are going to face a different way. And then I think for this one, for this center part, I am going to use a glue dot because it gets a little small and kind of hard to get it on there. I didn't even get one. Does that ever happen to you? You think you have a glue dot on something and then you take it to your project and it just falls to the wayside? So there's that. Isn't that so beautiful? And I thought it would be perfect on the front of the card. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little adhesive on there. And adhere it in the middle. And again, mine got a little crooked down here, but it doesn't matter. Like I said, you could put a new piece of paper on there. So I'm going to put my petals on with a little glue dot. And there we go. The last thing that I want to do is I'm going to take some more of that organdy ribbon, and I'm just going to cut a little piece off. I'm going to bring it together like this and just feed both of them through that hole at the top with that the punch has made. Bring them through and then just loop it through that loop. And then, of course, need my scissors to give a little angle there. And if you wanted to tie it on a gift, you'd want to leave it a little bit longer. And if you wanted to make a little message, you could do that on the back of the tag. And so there we are. So this is my version of the little treat box you could give someone. And here's a little tag. And then, of course, our cards. So what do you think of this set? Do you like it? Is it not your style, or you're not flowers? I sometimes get tired of the flowers, like so many flowers, but I absolutely love this stamp set, and I'm looking forward to seeing what else I can do. I'm going to work on some home projects with this Magnolia, so I'll be sure and share with you. And if you have anything to share, I have Sharing Saturday now. And so if you're visiting here from YouTube, come on over to my Facebook page at facebook.com/stampitwithdebbie. Every Saturday I have Sharing Saturday, and I have prizes. one random winner will win a prize just for sharing what you've been working on. So be sure and come on over and join us. And I forgot to say, if you are new to my Facebook Live, welcome. And of course, if you have watched before, I always appreciate you coming back to watch again. You can visit my store if you need any supplies at stampitwithdebbie.stampinup.net, and I will, after the video, go ahead and leave the host code above in the comments, or above in the description. And if you place an order this week, I will send you the make and take projects for these 3 projects. Thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you again next Wednesday. Have a great rest of your week.